Do you ever feel like your life is overflowing and it's filled with so much clutter, whether it's visual clutter, your space clutter, your mind clutter? Because here's the thing, a lot of clutter doesn't even have to be something we can see. It can sit in our minds. It can be old roles that we have fulfilled in our lives. It could be responsibilities, mindsets, expectations. All those things can be weighing you down. And if you're thinking, yep, you are talking my language, then this chat's for you because, I know I have been alluding to the fact that this has been a busy season for me. And as I've been chatting with some of you, it seems like it is a busy season for you too. So I thought, what better thing to talk about than to talk about how to clear all of that out and simplify life because we want to make space for the things that matter. So, welcome back. I'm so excited to be here with you. And if you know anything about me, you know that I live my life very simple and very intentionally. And that didn't happen overnight, but it really has done a lot for creating room for the things that matter to me. And so I'm going to be sharing with you some very basic and simple tips to be able to move in that direction. But it's really cool because letting go of all those things really has done a lot to help me release the baggage that holds me back. And it helps keep me fueled. I have more energy for the things that really matter to me. And I really want that for you too. Because midlife is such a powerful season in our lives and it's full of so much possibility. And, if we walk into it with a perspective of knowing that it's full of possibility, we walk out with a lot of hope and a lot of renewed energy for it. But if we are walking into it thinking, being buried under a lot of burdens and old patterns, old mindsets, all of that physical clutter and emotional clutter, it affects you emotionally, spiritually, physically, and it's easy to get overwhelmed and get really foggy. So today we're going to be chatting about how to let go of those things that are holding you back and create space for all the things that will bring energy and vibrance so that you can live intentional too. And I'm sure you're thinking, man, that sounds really good. So let's go ahead and get into this. So let me just ask you one quick question. Have you ever looked around and just wondered in your life, how did I end up with so much stuff? Whether it's in your home, in your workspace, in your car, in your head, but we often collect things. We collect the roles, the responsibilities over the years. And before we know it, we have buried ourselves under all of it. And we're not even trying to, but it's like carrying around a whole bunch of just in case items. And those can be really valuable and important in certain times and seasons for our lives. But those items from our past, those are weighing us down and making it hard for us to move forward. There is a reason for why we do all of this. And so there's no shame to it. But often when we hold on to all of that clutter and we take on more and more roles, those things, they just keep us down. And it does make us feel really significant though, and valued. But maybe taking on the extra responsibility though, at work, it might feel like you're more important, or keeping these sentimental items around, to remember your kids growing up in a really wonderful season of life. Those things are meaningful and they're good, great memories. But sometimes when we collect those things, we're saying yes to those commitments and the clutter and the chaos because it makes us feel prepared. It makes us feel significant. It makes us feel valued, like we're ready for anything that life is throwing our way. But let's be real. Wanting to feel significant and secure, it's totally normal, especially for females. We need that security, but we all want to feel like we matter, like our contributions are making a difference. And here's the thing, when we carry on too much, too many commitments, too many expectations for ourselves, too much stuff, it can all feel more like a burden than a source of fulfillment in our lives. And this is an important season for us. And so instead of feeling safe and valued, we end up feeling overwhelmed and foggy. And then we tell ourselves this is normal and it comes with age. And I'm going to tell you that can be true depending on other factors, but that's not the way God designed our bodies to live. And so life, it's made up of seasons, and each one, it has its own rhythm and its own purpose and its own beauty. And I like to compare us to like a tree going through different seasonal patterns. It's just a good visual for us. But if you think about being in your 20s and in your 30s, those are like the seasons of summer. Spring is like you're growing up and all the things are shooting up through the soil, and in summer you're living a life full of vibrancy and busy excitement, new beginnings, and you're building your careers, your families, raising your kids, chasing all of those dreams. And it's in all of that busyness that we often are more focused on what society expects of us, not exactly what we need or what we want in life, to feel purpose and be driven by those factors. But when you're those young little trees, you're full of that energy. The only problem is you haven't necessarily figured out how to dig those roots in real deep. Your trunk hasn't gotten really thick and sturdy to withstand a lot of things. And so when you're stepping into this new season of midlife, I like to think of it like the season of fall. Fall is so rich. It's so full of vibrancy as well, but in a completely different way. It's so colorful. It's so beautiful. It's seasoned, right? This is where harvest happens. You get to see the fruit of a lot of those seasons of our lives when we're just trying to be busy and get the stuff done. But in this season, you're slowing down, or the goal is to slow down. It's a good time for reflecting and simplifying, letting go of things like the trees let go of their leaves. It's preparing you for the next season of new growth. And so you have to be able to shed off all those extra things, the things that aren't serving you anymore, and that's not, like I said, it's not always physical stuff. A lot of this can be just outdated beliefs, roles, expectations, patterns, habits. And so here's where I like to share my story because, when I hit empty nest, Jonathan and I, we had a house. We had a lot of stuff for what felt like a lot of stuff for us. But I wanted to simplify. I needed to simplify. A lot of those things, it was weighing me down. And I felt physical clutter and emotional clutter, just mostly self-imposed, of my own expectations of myself. And I carried those things around for years. And so I just got to this point where I wanted to simplify. And because I'd carried that stuff for years, it doesn't happen overnight when to simplify. It can take quite a bit of time. But I finally figured out how to do that, how to simplify, how to let it all go. And what was really cool is everything that got to stay aligned with who I am and who I want to become or be in this next season. So I created more space for something that truly matters to me. And in these days, I simplified it so much that I now live in a travel trailer that fits in a parking space. And I'm not expecting any of you guys to do that. But what's really beautiful is it holds everything I need to be fulfilled and to live free in this season of life, to be anything that I want to be it right now. And so I want to be able to today look at your past, not as something that's just worth discarding, but something that you want to honor. So all those experiences, those roles, and those lessons, you've carried those, and they've brought you to who you are today. That journey has led you to a beautiful place. But the thing is you're no longer that little sapling, and you're this deeply beautiful rooted tree that is strong and resilient. And so this season, it's not about regret and having to discard something. It's about celebrating the now and the future, and knowing that you're making space for what's next. And it is so beautiful, and how we are able to move into this simplifying with intention. And that those roles, they're important. So, like a lot of us, we've carried the role of mother, daughter, friend, sister, mentor, caretaker, teacher. There's so many things that those roles and those titles come with. And so, all things, they shaped you today. And so, they weren't wasted. Nothing was in vain. So don't shame yourself for them. They were meaningful. And they gave you that strength, that resilience, and all those lessons. They're things that you can carry into this next season if you want to. So here's what I want you to do. Go grab a piece of paper and a pen because we are going to make a list of all those titles and all those roles. But we're going to do a brain dump and just don't hesitate. Just literally let your hand do the writing for you, and write as fast as your mind can think if possible. But you've worn a lot of hats, you know? And some of them are big hats like mom and career and spouse. Once you've got your list, put a star next to the titles and the roles that you want to carry into this next season. That you want to be a part of who you are in this next season. These are the roles that still bring you joy, still bring you fulfillment, the ones that make you feel alive and connected to the world around you. That's what you're putting a star next to. And if you're hesitating, don't put a star next to it. You can put a question mark if you need to. We'll come back to it. So all those roles that do not have a star, let's go ahead and spend a little bit of time honoring them. Write down those lessons and the qualities and the character traits that you've developed through those roles and those titles in your life. Being a caregiver, it can teach you how to have deep compassion for people, or maybe leading like a work project. It helps you build those leadership skills. And so take a moment, just spend a minute appreciating those experiences and what they gave you. They had a gift that they left behind for you. Okay. And here's where it gets really powerful. And I love this. I'm like so giddy and excited for you guys because I know the power of this exercise, and it's really cool. So now that you have done that, I want you to stand in front of a mirror. I'm always saying I want to help you fall in love with woman in the mirror. And here is one of those things that are going to help you with that. Okay. So yes, I really want you to stand in front of a mirror when you do this. And maybe you need to do it when nobody's around so you don't feel silly. That's totally fine. And I get it. But I want you to put your hand over your heart. And I want you to look at yourself in the eyes and imagine that you're talking to yourself as if you're talking to a friend who's graduating from one of these roles. Okay. So what would you say to her? How proud would you be? Like, tell yourself something like, I am so proud of you. You know, for all these years, your dedication that you spent as a teacher, pouring your heart out, guiding others, you've given so much. And I see the strength and the wisdom that you've developed because of this, the things that you've gained because of it. I want you to be specific. And when you mention these details, those actually connect deeply with your heart because you feel seen, heard, and understood. And those moments that you give to yourself through those words that you say in the mirror, it's like love and dedication, and it's like you're letting that pride and sense of accomplishment just swell up inside of you. And this isn't just about letting go, it's about acknowledging how far you've come. Okay. So be kind to yourself and celebrate the incredible woman you are. You are incredible. And I am so honored and so glad to be your friend. But every role and every season of life, it's prepared you for this moment right here, this graduation moment. Okay. And now you get to decide what you're carrying forward with you and what to release, but with gratitude. When you release something with gratitude, there's no shame with it, there's no regrets, there's no anything, but you understand the strength of letting it go because it's self-love. And so how does that feel? I know it's so powerful. This is something that I felt silly, and I honestly didn't give the first time I did it, I did not give myself the best efforts. And so I'm really, really, really encouraging you to just spend a minute to go deep, be specific, and you may even cry. So keep some tissues nearby. But I am so proud of you for taking this step. And you can do this as many times as you want with as many titles and roles as you want. And right now you may only have one or two things that you're willing to let go of because it's hard to let things go. But when you have the realization of letting go of something else, you can come back to this exercise and do it again. It's so powerful. So now that we've honored these roles and celebrated the journey that brought you to this point, like let's talk about what comes next. Because you see, this isn't about decluttering just to simplify for simplicity's sake. It's about falling in love with the woman in the mirror that brought you here today. Okay. And you're creating space to love the woman in the future because you let go of the things that you personally don't love. So you're saying, I love you so much. I'm giving you this gift to let this thing go so that you can enjoy your future. Your future self is going to love everything about what you're doing today. So I want you to be able to carry this and not this weird pride. When I say the word pride, I don't mean it in this like, I'm better than you type pride. I just mean in this sense of strength, accomplishment, a deep appreciation for all you've been through. You've been through a lot, you know? So think about how resilient you've become and how much you've learned and how ready you are to embrace the new season of life, how ready you are to take it on. Okay. You have so much wisdom, so much strength. And now that you've cleared some things out and got rid of the fogginess in the brain, you have more clarity to live intentionally more than you ever have before. And maybe in the past, you've tried to do a couple of things and you didn't have the clarity. And so you shamed yourself for not being strong enough to handle it. Well, maybe it wasn't about strength at all. Maybe it was just you just had to clear some things out of the way just so that you had more to give in the intentionality of picking up that new habit. So, as we wrap up today, I want you to remember simplifying and letting go are acts of self love. And when you release what no longer serves you, whether it's the role, the responsibility, or the outdated belief systems that you might have, you're telling yourself that you matter. So when you look at yourself in front of the mirror, you may want to say, you matter, Michelle. You matter, whatever, fill in the blank, the name, right? Like use your name. And you're creating space for what energizes you, what inspires you, what aligns with your true values. If you've not had energy and you're looking for energy, this might be one of the things you need to do. So you're stepping into that new chapter, full of potential. And I hope you feel empowered to fill it with what matters most, the things that you love desperately. And I know that you've got this. I'm cheering you on every step of the way. And if you need to book a life coaching session with me to help walk in a deeper way with this, you can reach out to me at michelle@michelledayrose.com. That's in the show notes. If you forget, no worries. And the other resource available to you is there is a free workbook that I will be posting in the Facebook group that you can go in and do all these exercises. But if today's message resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. And I want you to drop a comment and share one of the roles or one of the things you're letting go or one of the things you're keeping and why, right? Like let's honor and celebrate these things together. And, let me know how this exercise made you feel. Did you feel insecure? Did you feel excited? Did you feel hopeful? Sometimes we need to have this space to feel hope again. And, don't forget to share this video with a friend because honestly, being able to walk into this type of exercise with a friend is so empowering and especially encouraging. And here's the fun part. Next week, we're going to be going into this idea of simplifying even deeper. We're going to be talking about how to declutter our physical spaces. And since my wardrobe was the first thing I did, that's what next week will be about, decluttering your wardrobe and in a way that's intentional and freeing. And it's going to be so good. I cannot wait. And I'm so excited to be doing this with you. So until then, keep celebrating who you are, honoring your journey, and making space for more beautiful things yet to come. And I'll see you next week.